Good afternoon all. This is the North Sydney Local Planning Panel of the 7th of April, and we're here today to consider 7 items. There'll be 2 items that will be considered in a public session because they have more than 10 objections to those particular items. That's 1 and 2. The panel has briefed itself in terms of site inspections. We, like you, have had the benefit of the council officers' report, and for at least 5 days or longer in this instance, I believe, given Easter. And we will this afternoon hear from any objectors and hear from applicants and their experts before we close the public part of the meeting, and then we will adjourn to a private session to make our determination this afternoon, and our decisions will be on the internet by the end of the week. So just give you a bit of a time frame of how it goes. First of all, I'll introduce myself, and I'll ask each of the panel members to introduce themselves and indicate whether they have any conflicts of interest. I'm Jan Morell, chair of this panel, and I chair other panels, local planning panels, and sit on the Sydney Eastern panel. I'm a town planner of some 40-odd years experience, and my last job was a commissioner with the Land and Environment Court for 14 years before I retired. And my only work now is to sit as an independent expert on planning panels. I have no conflict of interest with any of the items on the agenda today. Thank you.
Okay. Oh, hi. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Veronique Marchand-Deau. I'm a community representative on this panel. I've been a councillor for many years, and I do have some planning and legal qualifications.
Conflict of interest?
I have no conflict of interest on any of the matters that are being brought to us today. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Peter Brennan. I'm also a town planner with over 40 years experience. I was the Director of Planning at Waverley Council for nearly 10 years. More recently, I sit on a number of council's planning panels and have been a member of the Sydney and regional planning panels.
Conflict?
No conflicts of interest, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Michael Raymond, lawyer and former councillor on North Sydney Council, and I have no conflicts of interest.
Thank you. I have to correct my conflict of interest because there is a matter on the agenda today which is an 8.2 review, and it's in respect of 10 Oak Street, and I sat on the original determination of that matter. So I will hand the chair over to Michael Raymond for that matter to be heard, and I will vacate the room. The only conflict is the fact that I sat on the original panel that made the determination on the application. Thank you very much. So the first matter on the agenda is 77 Holterman Street, Crow's Nest, and we did receive many submissions in respect of this matter, and it is therefore in a public meeting. This is for alterations and additions to a semi-detached dwelling within a conservation area. In fact, it is one of 2 in a row of a terrace, and this received, as I said, more than 10 objections. As I stated before, the panel has done inspections, and we have the officer's report to assess the application, and we would now like to hear from some adjoining owners to the application, which are Kate and Mary Allen. We have you registered to speak. Are you online there, please?
Yes, we are. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you, we can. Yes.
All right. Yes, good afternoon, Madam Chair and panel members. Thank you for your time. Our home is the adjoined semi-detached Victorian terrace to the west of the applicant's property, and we share a party wall. There are 2 properties to the east of the applicant's property, 79 Halterman Street and 32 Ernest Lane. We raise strong objections to the proposal because, given its current form, the proposal will affect the ongoing and desired amenity and enjoyment of our family home. The applicant's proposal seeks to add an additional bedroom, a sitting room and another bathroom to the existing second-storey level making it a 5-roomed home with 2.5 bathrooms. At ground level, the proposal also seeks to add an additional auxiliary structure at 3.65 metres squared adjacent to the existing carport at the east boundary line. We have undertaken a modest 2-storey extension of our home, which was limited to its present alignment by North Sydney Council due to overshadowing and solar access concerns to adjoining properties, in particular the applicant's property. We are requesting the same consideration that the proposal maintains the second alignment already established by our property. We do not believe the assessment report is a fair or balanced planning outcome for the 3 affected adjoining properties. The loss of existing amenity we currently enjoy, and in particular the reduction in daylight and sunlight to our properties, is unreasonable. In support of the proposal, the assessing officer makes reference to other properties in the surrounding history that's on page 8 of the report. We highlight properties 131, 127, 129, 135 and 125 Halterman Street. All these properties share the same orientation as the applicant's property and our adjoining terrace fronting Halterman Street to the north with rear-lane access to Ernest Lane. None of these properties share a boundary with 3 other properties. All these semi-detached properties have maintained the consistent rear and side setbacks of the attached property, where a 2nd-storey precedent has been set, thereby minimising amenity impacts. This is not the case with this proposal. The applicant's proposal substantially exceeds the 2nd-storey alignment already established by our property. The proposal is 3 times the length of our 2nd-storey addition, with a 0-line setback to our party wall boundary. The length of the 2nd-storey common boundary wall is 18.5 metres, with a maximum height of 7.5 metres. The applicant's west elevation diagram shows our perspective from our rear 2nd-storey south-facing bedroom. The substantial impact of the proposal is a 2nd-storey height and form dominating the single-storey form of the 3 affected adjoining properties. The significant adverse amenity impacts to our property relate to the fact that, if approved, our entire party wall boundary with the applicant's property will be infilled with high built structure over our ground floor living areas and south-facing rear bedroom. The excessive bulk and scale and 0 setback over our single-storey form will result in adverse visual impacts and privacy concerns, loss of views and access to sky and trees. Effectively, we will have no outlook to the east of our 2nd-storey bedroom, which we currently enjoy. We will sustain unreasonable reduction in sunlight and daylight and open space requirements not being met due to overlooking and the intrusion upon the visual and oral privacy of our home. We rely on our 2 skylights over our ground floor living areas to provide sunlight and daylight to our home. We have no windows in the affected area. This will be significantly reduced, impacting on our amenity and also the energy efficiency of our home. There are acoustic privacy concerns given the proposal seeks to run a hallway over our 2nd-storey bedroom and ground floor living areas as on the common boundary, and no measures taken to provide an acoustic or sound insulation. We rely on the report from our town planner, who has actually inspected our home and the immediate area as to the effects of the proposal on our home and our own submissions. We are requesting the proposal maintains the 2nd-storey alignment already established by our property. This would minimise the amenity impacts to all 3 adjoining properties and improve the amenity to the applicant's property. We would also highlight a submission objection petition signed by 68 immediate community residents requesting the applicant's proposal maintains the already established 2nd-storey alignment to our property. If the proposal in its current form is approved, it will set an undesirable and uncharacteristic precedent for the area, allowing other properties to extend beyond the 2nd-storey alignment of the attached property. If the proposal is approved, we are requesting a 1.5 metre side setback to our party wall boundary beyond the established 2nd-storey alignment already established by our property to minimise the impact to our existing amenity. We do not believe the proposal maintains the principles outlined in Galea versus Marrickville Council. We have also raised concerns in regard to the validity of any determination to the amended plans to DA 29720 in relation to party wall consent. And I refer to an email I sent to a senior council advisor on the 23rd of May, which I believe you have a copy of. Thank you very much for your time.
Yes, thank you. I'd just like to respond to say that we are aware of the party wall situation, and we have received your objections, submissions made in respect of the application, and we've had the benefit of reading those as well. So thank you very much for your assistance today. Can we hear from Julie Poyner? Is Julie online? We might just go to Danielle Deegan, who I can see online, if you'd like to address the panel and unmute yourself. Thank you.
Sure. Hi, my name is Danielle Deegan and I'm the planning consultant acting on behalf of the owners for the subject site. We support the recommendation for approval contained in the assessment report and accept all recommended conditions of consent.
Okay, sorry, can I just stop you there? Ms. Deegan, I didn't have you identified as for the applicant, so I'll have to go back to the owner of 79 Holterman Street, and that is Julie Poyner, if we can find her on the line. Thank you. No, not on the line? Okay then. Very well.
Do you have a mobile number of her that you could call?
Sorry? Hello?
Do you have a mobile number of the person you could call?
Yeah, that's what we are doing. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Thank you. Does Mary Ellen want to say? I think Kate was. Just while we're waiting, one of the members has said that would Mary like to add anything that you've said, Kate?
Yes, she would. Am I online? Can you hear me?
We can hear you very clearly.
Oh, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. My name is Mary. I am the mother of 7 children. The development application lodged by number 77 Halterman Street shows no consideration in regards to the effect their actions have imposed on the lives of the people living in the 3 adjoining properties. This development is wrong for our area, with the increase in height, bulk and scale. The overshadowing, loss of sunlight and daylight into our homes is a serious factor. As a result, this needs to be taken into account. The structure is so huge, a fortress, out of character to the area. My view of open space, trees, plus blue skies will be lost. If approved, I will be looking out from my bed at an ugly brick wall. Not a good outlook for health reasons. A very depressing situation. The wooden staircase leading onto a timber wooden floor corridor running along the full length of the common party wall is a major noise factor because of the resounding footsteps. My bedroom wall is on the other side of the proposed sitting room, TV, family room, another noise factor. My private sanctuary for a peaceful night's sleep will be interrupted. The proposed bathroom adjoins this sitting room. There is no indication given on the plans as to where the sewage waste disposal pipes will go, another noise factor. The request has been made for the applicants to extend their property to the same length and height as the co-joined Victorian Terrace, number 75 Halterman Street. In doing this, the development stays in line with all of the other neighbouring properties. This is a good outcome. The applicant's plans show 5 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, plus a so-called demountable garden shed, the size of another bedroom. This is overdevelopment. The council officer assigned to this application has failed to make himself available to visit our home. The officer, under these conditions, cannot assess the impact the proposed development has on our home and quality of life. Without full knowledge of the situation, how could he, in all honesty, write a true assessment? Our property on the western side of the plans has not been included in his assessment. The Halterman Street Precinct Committee, together with 68 concerned residents who signed a petition against this development, should be given great consideration. People power. In your hands, you have the ability to restore the amenity and the quality to the future lives of the people living in the 3 adjoining homes. This is not a small task. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very
God
much.
bless you.
Thank you. I just wanted to say that since COVID, inspections have not involved going into adjoining properties for obvious reasons. And I just wanted to explain that to you, that is the reason why site inspections are not taking place like they did pre-COVID. So just to respond to what you said, and I hear your concerns, but in terms of an officer visiting the house, this doesn't happen now with the COVID restrictions. Okay. Yes, and we've tried to ring Julie Poyner and we can't get onto her. So we have made all attempts. So I just want that noted for the record. Now I will go to the applicants team, and I have Daniel Deegan, Greg Barr-Jones and Paul Zammit. I would like you to respond, in addressing me, I would like you to respond to the concerns that you've heard from the submitters. Thank you, Danielle. Can you put yourself off mute, please?
Hi. Yes, I'm the town planning consultant acting on behalf of the owners. We've read through the comprehensive assessment report prepared by council staff. We believe that comes in detail to all of the concerns raised by the objectors. Since the proposal was initially submitted to council, it has been amended and the bulk and scale has been reduced to that originally submitted. In my opinion, the proposal represents a modest first floor addition, which is largely compliant with all of council's planning controls. It is also consistent with other first floor additions along this section of Halterman Street, and it won't be visible in the Halterman Street streetscape. It's also consistent with the objectives for the conservation area. The amenity impacts to adjoining properties have been minimised, and they are not unreasonable given the density and character of this established urban area. The issues raised by the objectors, as I said, have been comprehensively addressed in the assessment report, Some of their concerns could be further addressed by conditions. I note there's a condition regarding the window height of the sill height of the rear window, which will minimise privacy impacts. The shadowing impacts are compliant with council's controls, and there are no view impacts. Was there anything else specifically you'd like me to respond to?
Well, just if you could address some of the concerns in terms of the, I suppose, the length of the extension, the upstairs extension.
Yeah, it's my understanding that the first floor addition complies with the rear setback controls. And as I've said, the shadowing impacts comply with council's requirements. So I don't see a problem with the rear setback.
Okay, and just in terms of the condition, there is a condition which says for a 1.5 mil sill height. In terms of the amenity of that particular room with a southerly aspect, an alternative privacy mechanism may be to build a blade wall of some 450 millimetres. So
Yeah.
you have to have a high hillside.
Well, that would work as well.
Yes, sill height. Sill height.
I think, probably check with the owners and see if they could live with that, but that would definitely achieve the same outcome.
Okay then. All right, well, let's hear from the Paul Zammit and Greg Bard-Jones.
I'm going to go first, Greg.
Yes, Greg. Okay, thank you. And you are the designer.
Yes, that's right. Afternoon, members. I'm the designer for the clients, 77 Holterman Street. I'll just address one thing firstly, the acoustic requirements. The acoustic requirements are going to be somewhat similar to the existing structures masonry walls. So on the direct boundary abutting the neighbouring building, it is a masonry wall, which will be quite good for acoustic separation. The structural elements of that wall will also be separated, so that'll help prevent any noise transference through to that wall. And there is some other options that we could explore as far as putting like a soundproofing gyprock over the top of it as well, if it was deemed necessary. But I think that masonry wall should satisfy any acoustic requirements on there. As far as the potential noise transference from any of the wet areas, that's on the other side of the property. And there's a hallway helping to break up any noise that would be transferred from that area as well. So I'm quite confident that there won't be any issues around acoustic requirements.
You heard, just on the acoustics before you move on, you heard concern about the stairs.
The existing stairs?
No, well, the stairs that would be part of the proposal.
So there's some new proposed stairs going in the place of the existing stairs. So this wouldn't really change from what it is currently. And again, it is separated by a double party wall, which is basically the wall on either side of the property boundary there. So that has an extra bit of, I guess.
And it's completely contained within the building.
Completely contained within the.
Yes, and what about the treatment of those treads in terms of, is it to be carpeted or is it to be timber, etc.?
We haven't decided on that just yet. At the moment, it would be timber in keeping with the original house. They're timber as it stands. If there was any concerns around that, you could employ like a carpet runner to go up the middle,
yes.
Which would help deaden any potential
Yes,
noises.
Absolutely, yep. Mm-hmm.
But I'm quite confident that there wouldn't be any noise transference from those stairs, not through a double 240 double skin party wall. That'd be some feat of noise transference there, if that was the case.
May I ask a question,
Yes.
ma'am?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask a question, which is really, you say that the stairs were originally there anyway, and were they wooden stairs and wooden treads?
Yes, I'm fairly, I'll just defer to Paul there. I'm fairly certain that existing stairs are timber, is that right?
Yeah, they're currently timber stairs and we have carpet over the top of those stairs.
Okay. So you would be prepared if there was a condition to require carpet over them again?
Carpet runner.
Maybe a runner?
A carpet runner.
Yes,
Yeah,
but we want,
allergies.
but we want to ensure that we're first what the acoustics are with the current stairs. And if they're being met, then if that's required, we can add the carpet on top. But if it's being met, the current acoustics with the current stairs with timber or what's proposed.
But the current stairs have carpet on them.
Yes, they do.
That's right. What we're
But
doing
they're
is replacing like with like. So that's okay. Then that could be a condition of consent.
Okay.
Okay. Rightio. And any other questions from panel members? No. Okay. Is there anything further that you wish to address the panel on? You've noticed the conditions. Have you looked at the conditions in terms of construction fully within the boundary, etc.?
Yes, that's everything's fine. Yes, correct. Sorry. Go, Paul. Sorry.
Yeah, so we looked at the conditions. Obviously, we're not builders, but Greg there has said he's reviewed those as well. The only thing we just wanted to clarify is that the conditions that state regarding the roof fabric for the skylight on the south-facing roof plane, which we will be removed as per the condition. But the planning for solar panels on that roof would stay.
Just repeat that. I didn't hear you.
Sorry. So the condition regarding the skylight removal, will
What
be
number condition is that?
number 6.
Number 6.
Madam Chair.
Thank you. Oh, yes, we have.
Nomenclature.
Yes, there was an addendum report which was prepared by the officer and it refers to solar panels now.
Yes. So when we discussed that with the officer, based on review of what the council guidelines say regarding solar panels, if a solar panel is on a roof not facing the street, and the primary street, and it's not visible from the street, then the solar panels should be allowed in that position.
Yep.
But the skylight, because the skylight is affecting the form of the roof and it would go through the roof, and that should not be there. So we believe the condition as it's stated in the agenda, saying the skylight shouldn't be there, should be agreed to, but the solar panels should be allowed in that position as per the council planning for renewable energy systems guidelines on the website.
Yeah, because it would be basic.
So that's on the south facing plane.
Yes, but it's not visible from the street.
The south facing is the rear.
Is it effective?
And yes, I suppose the question's just been raised. What is the effectiveness of solar panels on a
South.
South facing.
Yeah, so yes, so they're not in the, they are obviously not, they are obviously not in the most optimal position, but due to the roof being approximately 10 degrees, it is minor compared to if it was a 30-degree facing roof. So we're happy to have the panels on in that orientation and take the solar we can get in that position.
Can I just clarify? The roof is actually facing east, not south. The roof falls to the eastern side of the property, so the panels are facing
east.
Predominantly east. Yeah.
Can you just clarify for us then, Greg? What condition are we talking about then?
It's not.
That condition's the amended condition. Is that what you're referring to?
C6.
So this is an amended. Yeah, condition 6.
Yes.
We clarified condition 6 with Hugh prior to the meeting, and then Hugh came back with the response saying the skylight would be allowed, but the solar panels would not. And we think that's an error, unfortunately. Yeah, because the skylight affects the form of the roof as it effectively will be built through the roof, which we do not want to do because it's would affect effectively the conservation area of the roof form. But the solar panels, as they're not visible from the streetscape and they're not on the roof facing the primary road, they would comply with the North Sydney Council guidelines for planning for renewable energy systems.
All right, we'll have a look at that.
May I ask a question,
Yes,
just
yeah.
because you know your diagrams a bit better? Would that skylight be S6?
Yeah, so S6, but we agree with that condition for S6 to be removed.
Okay.
S6
And-
removed, okay.
Yep, and leave the solar panels on that roof.
And the other question, because it's on the same plane when I have a look at your diagram, revision 8, and it shows the solar panel on the same S6. And what you're saying to me is that it goes this way and you won't be seeing it this way, as it were.
Yeah, so the solar panels will be attached to the roof, will be parallel to the roof. We won't attach them with the arms that you can do and point them up in any direction. They will just be in line with the roof.
Okay, and you won't see it from the front, which was a concern for the heritage people usually.
It's behind a parapet. It's behind the.
Oh, right, okay.
And there's also a side parapet as well.
Right, so it actually faces north.
Just to clarify again,
Yes.
the rear solar panels face east.
On the roof.
Solar panels on the existing roof, which is I think what you're talking about, that roof does fall to the south, so they would be somewhat facing south, but I think they would still be effective, given the height orientation and things like
So
that.
can I just clarify, the solar panels are proposed on the roof of the extension?
The roof of the extension and also the existing roof.
Yes, that's correct.
There's two lots.
Effectively two roofs.
They're not on this.
Well, it's
So
a
you'll get some
sustainable-ish
not on
addition, so as long as it's not visible, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, it's definitely on the parapet.
That's the old building.
Yeah, that's the old ones.
New one, yeah, that's the new building.
Okay, can I just ask you then one other question? It was with respect to what was raised by submitters, that is a further setback of the upper level, first floor.
So due to the width of the property, putting a setback on both sides of 1.5 metres is unachievable to put a livable space in that. Because our property width is already a narrow block, and to have us 1.5 on both sides effectively means you can't put anything there,
All right,
which is not in line with other buildings in the street.
okay, yeah, I just have to ask once again on the record. Yep. Okay, then.
Excuse me, Madam Chair. Excuse me, Madam Chair. Sorry, this is Kate, the adjoining terrace. We do object to that because obviously we've done a second story addition which was set to its present alignment by North Sydney Council. So we have no objection to the applicants building to our second story alignment. Building beyond our second story alignment, as I said, there's a masonry wall which is right on the party wall line, which means we will have no views whatsoever to the east. So what we're asking is we have no objection to them building up to our party wall, to our second story alignment, but beyond there, we would like a 1.5 metre setback just to maintain the existing amenity because, I mean, honestly, we will have no amenity to the east whatsoever.
Okay, thank you. We hear your submission and we've heard the applicant's position, and this matter will consider during our deliberations, and we'll have to consider this application in terms of the current North Sydney planning controls. So we will be doing that, and we will then put our decision on the council's website by the end of the week. I'd like to thank you all for your participation in the matter today. And as I said, we have been assisted by everyone's comments and we'll be making our decision later today. So thank you very much. We'll now move to item number 2, which is also a public meeting matter because of the number of objections that have been submitted. And that is 69A Carter Street, Camaray. which is the demolition of existing structures and construction of a multi-dwelling development containing 4 units / townhouses with basement parking, landscaping and upgrading of the driveway right-of-way from Carter Street. I have submitters who wish to address the panel, and the first one is Michelle Lewis. Could I ask you to address the panel? Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Madam Chair and panel members. I own one of the units at 79 Carter Street, and I'm authorised by the other 3 owners in our block to speak on their behalf today. Thank you for this opportunity to voice our strong opposition to the development application. We live in a small block of 4 units, and 69A Carter Street is immediately next door to us. Both properties are set back off the street, as you mentioned, down a right-of-way on what's known as a battle axe block. And the only way to access our property and 69A is via this long shared driveway or right-of-way. At 71A, we only have 2 car spaces, which means that most of our residents have no choice but to go to and from their homes on foot using the shared driveway. And these pedestrians include 5 young children, and there is no other route available to them. The safety of these children in particular is our paramount consideration. The development of 69A would result in a huge increase in traffic coming and going from the development, not just due to excavating machinery and other commercial vehicles during the construction, but also after the construction, when the number of cars using the shared driveway will increase from the current 2 cars to potentially 12 cars. This will create significant safety issues for our residents who are wanting to come and go from their homes. In addition to the safety issues, the residents of 71A will be significantly inconvenienced by this increased volume of traffic. Also, the development application mentions the widening of this shared driveway, which we do not and will not consent to. While there is an easement in place registering the current access arrangements, we still do own half of our driveway and will not consent to any encroachment of the development onto our half, and we certainly do not consent to any removal of any of the foliage on our side, which includes very attractive overhanging camellias, which are currently in bloom and full of native parrots and add considerable street appeal to our property. The current residence at 69A is a single house, which is surrounded by very lush greenery and large established trees, so much so that we can't even see the dwelling from our building. These trees also screen our building from other apartment buildings high above us on hills in the neighbourhood. So the new proposal will ultimately remove all of this greenery, replacing it with an oversized and overbearing townhouse complex. One of the greatest appeals, as the previous submitters just mentioned, of the North Sydney Council area is the abundance of flora and fauna, which creates a beautiful, peaceful and aesthetically pleasing locale, and this certainly applies to our little sanctuary at the end of our driveway off Carter Street. All of this flora protects us from the elements, as well as providing the privacy from our neighbouring properties. The combined space of our property at 71A and at 69A Carter Street is home to a large number of native animals, including protected species. Lately, we've been hearing an owl, which has taken up residence in a large tree at 69A. We're concerned that the construction of such an overbearing complex will also reduce the appeal and value of our properties. Parking is another big issue. As I mentioned, only 2 of us have parking off-street, and currently there's almost no available on-street parking for the residents who do live here. So this development will attract numerous additional vehicles, reducing the already almost non-existent on-street parking. Rubbish bins are another issue. There's currently barely enough space for us to place our bins on the street. So, we're at a loss as to understand where the bins for all these extra residents in the townhouses will go. There's literally no space on the street. In addition to, I've mentioned that about the privacy. So the lower, I'll just add one more thing around the privacy. The lower unit at 71A will be significantly impacted as the development will loom over their yard, which will completely destroy the current privacy they enjoy. It will impact on our views such that all of our views, which are currently lovely, it'll just be looking straight onto the new development, which walls and windows in place of trees and shrubs. It will greatly impact on the natural light, which we currently enjoy an abundance of, impacting on our solar access. And finally, there's the issue of noise at night. Currently, you can literally hear a pin drop as our neighbourhood is so quiet. Not long ago, one of the houses in front of us started using their air conditioner at night, which caused some disturbance because it's so quiet where we live. Fortunately, our neighbour agreed to stop using it so as not to disturb us. And this was one residential air conditioning unit. The development application includes some kind of large air conditioning system located in the basement of the townhouses. And there really is no way that this will not impact on the peaceful enjoyment of our homes in such a quiet location. So in conclusion, we're not against change in the local area and accept that the area must evolve with the times. However, the construction of this development will significantly damage the appeal of the local area. It presents a real risk to the safety of our residents, and it sets a pretty unappealing standard for the future, further eroding the beauty of Cammeray locale. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to ask you, now it seems to me that the right-of-way is shared between 69A and your property?
Correct.
That's correct. And I understand that owner's consent has been granted for works in that right-of-way.
No, not correct. It's not been sought. I note that it's on the application, but it's not been sought and it certainly hasn't been granted. What we were in negotiations with the developer a while ago around registering an easement, as I mentioned, to register the current access arrangements. But in terms of any consent given to widen, change, remove foliage, none of that has been consented to.
Okay, so as we understand it, there has been owner's consent for the right-of-way.
No.
Yeah.
Could I just clarify, do you actually own, as distinct from having a right-of-way, the parcel of land
Yes.
that you're referring to, which has the camellias and so forth on it?
Yes, that's my understanding. And as I mentioned, we had some negotiations around registering the easement last year with the developer. And my understanding from those negotiations is we own one half on one side of the driveway, and the whoever the current owner is of 69A owns the other half. Yes. And we each granted the other access to.
So you've got reciprocal rights of way.
Correct.
Yes,
correct, but that easement does not extend to making any alterations to our property on that half of the driveway.
Can I just say that I do have the seal of the owner's strata plan. Are you in SP 39059?
I don't have it in front of me, but if that's the easement, then yes, that's something that we agreed to.
Okay, well, we have a owner's consent to lodge a development application.
Yes.
And we have that the strata manager has affixed the strata seal to that.
Yes. Consent to lodge the application, not consent to the changes to the driveway that have been proposed.
They're not strata.
Sorry?
They're not a strata. You're not a strata plan, are you?
Yes, we are.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not on the plan here. 562-106 is not a strata plan number.
That's the one there.
Oh, right, at the rear.
And
Yes,
the only comment that I want to make, Chair, and for you, Ms. Lewis, is in fact, when I look at the diagram submitted by the applicant, it doesn't seem to be any change to your vegetation, your camellias on your side of the easement, which is your property, as it were, even though you do share a carriageway.
Yes.
The only concern I may have a little bit, because if the use of it at the end may in fact have some dilapidation on your side of the concrete, which the applicant, I believe, and please correct me, planners, if I'm not saying the right thing, is that they're going to repair all of that concrete so that everybody can use. But what you're saying is you don't want them to even touch that. So it may be to your disadvantage.
We're not disagreeing with repairing the concrete, but what we're concerned about is the widening and what that might entail.
And no removal of the vegetation.
No,
Correct.
but there isn't on their side. Most of the works are there.
It would require
it.
It would not be possible for construction vehicles just for a start to gain access to the property without damaging the vegetation on our side of the driveway.
Ah, okay.
It's not a wide driveway, which is why we're so concerned about pedestrian access with the children.
Well, the widening of the right of way, is it proposed on your side or the owner of the subject properties portion of the right of way?
My understanding is that it would require widening of the driveway in total, so both sides.
And that was to provide for pedestrian access then, which would serve your properties and the new properties.
Yes, but it's our view that it's not wide enough to accommodate potentially 12 cars plus pedestrians.
Well, yeah, that's a matter for for an assessment in terms of the intensification of that right of way, but nothing can stop the use of that right of way. So I'll just have to get clarification on where the works are proposed, and the applicant might be able to assist us in that regard.
Okay.
Yes. So yours. Well, I suppose it can be something that can be discussed later if necessary. But anyway, okay then. So I've heard your concerns, and if we could now turn to Sue Ray. Sue Ray on the line. The owner of 69 Carter. Don't believe I have her here. Could we see whether we might be able to phone her?
Hello.
Oh, yes.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Yes. Sorry.
Yes, Sue Ray, thank you.
Right. Thank you for hearing me.
Yes.
Yes, I'm one of the owners of 69 Carter Street, which is to the north boundary of 69A. And I feel that this proposed development is just totally inappropriate for the area for all the reasons that I've laid out in my submissions previously. And I agree totally with all the comments made just now by Michelle with regard to the driveway. Looking at the documents that were sent, I couldn't see a plan as to what the developers plan to do with the driveway, particularly on the western side, which is where I'm located, and no reference as to what they're going to do other than remove the trees and the shrubs, which may, of course, damage the joining fence. And there's been no comment as to what's going to happen there. So I'd like that to be clarified. In addition, the parking is a major issue for me. As Michelle said, there's potentially 12 more cars going to be going up and down there, which is just ridiculous. And there's not enough provision for visitor parking. And what happens if there's only one? So what happens if one visitor goes up, parks, and then another visitor arrives? Do they just have to do a U-turn in the limited space available and go and try and find parking on Carter Street? And also the proposed development will impact the privacy in my backyard, both on the eastern side where the fence is and the southern side, where the balconies will be overlooking the backyard. So I'd like to hear people's comments about that.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ray. I now have the applicant online. No further objectors online that wish to address the panel?
Thank you, panel. My name's Tina Christie from City Plan. I'm from the planning firm representing the client. I've also got with me today Uyghur from PBD Architects and the client themselves, if you've got any questions for them. I just wanted to say...
Just one moment. I just was trying to ascertain whether in fact we had any other objectors online who wish to object, who wish to address the panel. It sounds like we don't. So I will now invite the applicant's experts to address the panel and respond to the issues that they've heard as well. So thank you very much, Tina. And we have Michael Lowry. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Right, thank you. And Uyghur Marja?
Is that Maya? Thank you.
Maya? Yep. Very well, you're the architect.
Correct.
Right. Okay then, thank you. So I'm in your hands as to who wishes to address us first, but just remember to try and respond to the applicants or the submitters' concerns. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Madam Chair and panel members. I just wanted to say that we have worked very closely with council on this application. As you can appreciate, it is a difficult site, and we believe that the proposal responds very well to not only the natural topography, but also the transition between the higher density zones behind us and also our current zone. I will go through some of the submissions that were raised. I'll respond to those in a minute. And then also, before we finish, there's a couple of conditions that we'd like the panel to put their mind to, either deleting or at least amending, and either myself or Uyghur will discuss those. With regards to the submissions, I'll just go through them one by one. With parking, the proposal provides parking that complies with council's controls. We don't feel that there'll be any parking issues. It is only 4 dwellings and there is 1 at the moment, so we're only talking about 3 additional dwellings. So that then also moves on to traffic. We have 6 parking spaces all up, plus 1 visitor. So there's adequate parking as far as council is concerned for the proposal, which, as I said, is only 4 units. With regards to the driveway, I might take the panel to drawing number DA 500, if you've got that in front of you. And I'll
just hold for one moment.
Sure.
DA 500. Okay, 1 second. Usually the last one.
That's always the way.
I don't have that in front of me.
What's your page reference? L01 or L02?
I don't know.
Do you have the landscape L01 drawing?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, we have the yellow one, yes.
Yep, that will suffice.
Yes.
Okay, if you can just bring your attention to the driveway in detail, I might just explain to the panel, and I'm sure the residents are aware of this. The way the right-of-way works is it's basically 6 metres the whole carriageway. Each side has 3 metres, and then there's a metre on the western edge and the eastern edge of that driveway, which is to be kept for landscaping or untouched or whatever. The right-of-way itself only deals with the 4 metres in the middle. So from the centre line of the carriageway, 2 metres on either side. So what we're proposing is along the western length or boundary of the driveway, of the carriageway, we are proposing a safer pedestrian path for both our site and the adjoining premises to be able to use as well. That provides...
Just before you go on, Tina, is that, and whose land is that within?
That's within the subject site 69A.
69A subject site. Thank you.
At the moment, I'm just talking about our actual side. So we're
Okay.
proposing a footpath that will take everyone up to, I guess, from the street up to the end of the Battle Axe Handle, if you want to call it that.
Yes.
And then we're proposing to move from the western boundary across to the eastern boundary, an actual, just a demarcation, a marked pedestrian, almost like a zebra crossing, for want of a better word, so that people can walk from that footpath up the full length of the driveway and then across to numbers 71A or continue into our property. We're proposing that to improve the access for everyone. What that means is that the driveway that is left will be, the area that is left will be used for the physical driveway that you drive your cars on, but we have no intention of touching that 1 metre on the eastern side of the carriageway. And you can see that there's 1 metre of landscaping along there. We have no intention of touching that. So where we talk about widening the driveway, we're purely providing a more efficient vehicle passage as well as a more efficient pedestrian passage that will be usable for both parties without touching that 1 metre on the eastern side of the carriageway.
Right, okay. So but I can just say that I can't see any pathway indicated on the landscape plan that you've referred us to.
Okay, on that drawing L-01, if you have if you have a look on the western side, along the western boundary of the access handle, see how it's got like a bit of an orangey colour? Can you see that? Are you looking at the landscape plan?
Yes.
L-01?
Yes.
Lower ground floor landscape plan?
Yes. Can I make a comment, Chair? You mentioned that you have a pedestrian access to 71A to be shared because that's one of your benefits that you're offering.
Yes.
However, on the landscape plan, that's barely visible. Can you make sure that when it comes to your CTMP, that it is well designated, because that's going to be an issue that will come up, I suspect, because it's already coming up here.
Definitely, and that can be imposed as a condition because it is shown on our architectural plans. If you have a look on the plan DA 550.
Okay, 1 moment, 550, I've got that, I believe. 560, 550. Yes, I have 550, yes.
Can you see at the southern end of the access handle, there's like a zebra crossing outline?
Yep.
That's the intention. So you'll walk along the western boundary and then you'll come, the owners of number 71A will come across that zebra crossing demarcation so that they can then get to their premises.
Well, it doesn't look like there's any demarcation of a crossing or anything else on this 550 that I have. Okay, right then.
Am
I correct in assuming we're still going to have tracks for wheels, tyres?
Yeah, if you come back to the drawing, the lower ground floor landscape plan L-01, have you got revision E for egg?
Yes.
Okay, that shows, again, along the western side, it's kind of like an orangey colour, which is where the footpath, pedestrian path will be. And then it shows some green and white stripes. The white is obviously the demarcation of where the tyres will go, and the green will be the grass cell.
Yes, I've got that, but that's that seeing pedestrian crossing. Okay. All right, I don't see, there's no pedestrian crossings on ours.
No, I have, sorry, there is not on the landscape plan, but it was shown on the architecturals, but we can definitely have that imposed as an additional condition because the intention is to provide that pedestrian crossing demarcation.
So the entrance to the underground car park,
Yes.
when you look at the townhouse, when you look at the amended landscape plan, is under townhouse 2?
Yes, that's correct.
So that was on plan. No, ground floor plan. DA 102 shows the pedestrian crossing at the end.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
Not the other plan. Okay, 102. Thank you very much.
Oh, I see, yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay.
I believe that overcomes the issue that number 71A may have raised.
I'll just clarify there with you, Tina. There's no works being done on that part of the right of way owned by 71.
The only extent of work that will occur will be in the central 4 metres that is shared 2 metres on either side by both parties, and that is purely to upgrade and improve the existing driveway.
Right, okay. Just the concrete wheel tracks.
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay. All right then. Well, it'll be a matter for the applicant in terms of agreement with that party as to doing those works or not. But anyway, there is consent for use of the right of way. So, okay. All right, Joe.
I might just draw the panel's attention to that consent for the use of the right-of-way. The terms of the right-of-way actually say, for such time as the improvements on the dominant tenement are proposed to be or are more than a single dwelling, then all or any works or any improvements, so construction, landscaping, etc., within the right of carriageway and all ongoing maintenance costs shall be borne by the proprietor. Now, my client is obviously aware that any works that they're proposing, they will bear all the costs of those works.
Right, okay, rightio, thank you.
Excellent. Okay, one of the concerns that was raised was tree removal. There will be some trees that are removed from the site, obviously, because of the location of where they are. There are conditions imposed from council, though, and also our landscape plan shows it, but there are conditions that additional landscaping is to be provided along the boundaries. So we believe that we will overcome those issues because along the site's eastern boundary and rear boundary in particular, there will be some mature trees planted as per the conditions by council. With regards to the bins, that diagram on, I think it was 101, shows that the bins will be, there's a holding bin down at the the northern end of the carriageway on 69A's side of the carriageway, where the bins will be held only during the time for them to be picked up and dropped off. So they shouldn't be presented out on the street for long periods of time. They'll be kept in that holding bay area. So again, I think that should overcome the concerns of the neighbours.
And the bin storage area is where?
So in the basement itself, if you go to that drawing 101, in the basement itself, there is a bin holding area.
Yep, I've got the holding area, but I just was wondering where the permanent bin storage is. I can see it in the basement.
That is in the basement, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And, just to clarify, and then it comes out as per that drawing when it's being picked up on the pickup days?
Yes. That's correct. They'll just be put in that holding bay on the northern end of the carriageway near the street, just on the pickup nights.
Yes, Okay, great. Thank you.
Now, views, I understand that views were raised. We've done quite an extensive view analysis, and I know that the council report has addressed the views as well. We've done an analysis of the views of a compliant building as well as where the proposal marginally encroaches over the height. Most most of the adjoining properties will retain their existing views that they have, because most views are of skylines and trees. But definitely where the proposal exceeds the height doesn't create any additional view impacts than what a compliant building does. So we believe that that's been addressed in a lot of detail in both our view analysis that was submitted and also Council's report. The same with privacy. I understand that privacy was raised by the property at both 71A Carter and 69 Carter. 69 Carter, which is the property in front, the proposal is set back at least 4 metres from that common boundary, and the units are quite elevated at that area, and there's extensive landscaping between the two. So we don't believe that there'll be privacy issues there. With regards to 71A Carter, again, as I said, we're proposing landscaping along the side boundary, and the design is actually that there's not a lot of side windows. If you have a look at the floor plans, you'll see most of the windows are orientated to the north and the south to actually minimise all of the side windows. So we don't believe that privacy will be an issue for those properties to the side. I think that's overcome all of the concerns that were raised. If it's okay with the panel, we'd just like to take you to 2 conditions that we'd like to discuss ourselves. And I might get
Just wait one moment. I'll see whether the panel have any questions on what we've heard so far.
Yes, could you explain how you're going to manage traffic on the one, because it's two-way driveway, but it's narrow, 4 metres, how you'll manage traffic on the driveway or vehicle movements?
Okay, because the number of units is so small, it's only 4 units, which is only an increase of 3 from existing. I don't believe that the traffic engineers had any issues. If the panel was of a mind, we could always put some extra mirrors along the carriageway. That might help, so that if someone is about to enter the site, they can see if anyone's coming down.
Well, the difficulty is, I suppose, it's 37 metres long, and even though it may not be a great intensification, it probably, and it may not warrant from a traffic engineering point of view, but just from a practical point of view, some small traffic, I mean, when I say traffic lights, I don't mean traffic lights, I mean below the top of the wall lights, small lights, a red and a green, so that those coming out of the townhouses will know whether it's going to be red or green, and then those entering from the road, because you can't very well back up the right-of-ways if you meet in the middle. And I think that there should be, from the point of view of safety and effectiveness of that right-of-way, that might be an appropriate way to go, plus your mirrors.
Yep, that's fine. I agree with that. We can work with council for some conditions on that if you like, or...
Yeah, as I said, they can be very, very discreet.
Sure, okay. Okay.
Operated from your car.
No, they're tripped, they're triggered, you've got a light beam.
All right.
Yep,
okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Because it'd be for the other people in the other block too.
So yes, so the other block would also have to have the benefit of the same treatment of a light ray for indicating when they pass a certain point, etc.
Okay, that's fine. It could be conditioned easily.
Yeah. Okay, so you're about to address. Oh, any other questions of the panel? Ronnie?
Not really.
No.
I don't recommend the mirrors. They're not recommended. They're distortive.
Okay. All right.
Lights are good.
So would you like to finish then, Tina?
Sure. Okay, so I will pass over to you in a minute. If the panel could take their mind to condition C3, I believe it's on page 56 of the report, around there. It's the design modification condition.
Yeah. Obscure glazing. Windows on the south.
Page what?
Page 5, 51.
Page 5 of 51.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So conditions C3A and B, we've just got concerns with those conditions, and I'll pass you on to Uyghur, if that's all right. Yep.
Hello panel, Uyghur speaking, PBD Architect. Just would like to draw your attention to A first. So that's the request for the obscure glazing on those southern facing units, which are townhouses 3 and 4. If you draw your attention to firstly section DA 300, I would like to explain the situation of that southern boundary.
DA
300.
Right, thanks so much. Yep. Okay, yes, thank you. We have that.
All right, that's great. So you can see the proposed development sitting on townhouse 3. So there's 2 levels there, being the upper level being the dining and the living and the kitchen, with the dining facing towards the south. And then the indicated built form on the southern side of the boundary, which is 24 Camaret Road. That particular first level story of that massing is actually allocated to car parking, lobbies and storage. And the actual apartments, they start above townhouse 3. So basically having no direct relationship with an on-par level with our development, we do believe that the obscure glazing is not in our benefit, but also if there were to be visual privacy issues, it would more so be from 24 towards our development rather than vice versa. And this, if you also take DA 301 in a similar kind of condition, which is
yes,
positioning townhouse 4 against the 24 Camaret Road, which has a similar condition, being the upper level being the bedrooms, and then having the middle level being the dining and kitchen. So I think for our purposes, we would really like to have no obscure glazing to
Townhouse 3 and 4.
Yep.
That's an internal issue, is it?
I might just add to that.
Or this one?
There at the back. Yes, Tina. 24.
I might just add to that panel. I know you're working your way through the plans.
Oh, that's north.
Yeah.
If you have a look at drawing DA1,
25 is at the back.
This one.
DA103, sorry. You'll see that the way and DA104, you'll see the way that the units are proposed is to limit the extent of side windows, obviously for privacy. As I mentioned earlier, we've got the units facing north and south. So therefore, if we were to have that condition imposed, it would mean that all of those south-facing windows for those dining rooms in particular, which are lower than the adjoining property, would be obscure for no reason. We think that the topography of the site achieves the privacy that the intention of that condition is for anyway.
Okay, so C3A, you would like the obscure glazing removed to clear to.
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct.
Right. Okay. And what else was there?
Number B.
Secondly, that's number B. Will be referring to DA 200.
Yes.
I'm talking about a privacy issue towards the western boundary to 63 Carter Street. Basically, it's recommended to set back this balcony by 1 meter. We do, however, believe that setting this balcony back won't achieve the desired outcome for what you try to achieve in your condition. We propose, however, to have a privacy screen on that western balcony wall to prevent overlooking, rather than having the 1 meter setback.
So if you have a look at that drawing DA200, the side elevation, you'll see the brick wall extends all the way. The top of that brick wall is actually the top of the balustrade of the balcony. And what we're proposing is where the notation PC is.
Yep.
That solid vertical fixed louvers be positioned above that brick wall. That will have the same intent as setting back the balcony. In fact, it would be a better intent, to be honest, Because setting back the balcony 1 metre won't do anything. Whereas if you put fixed louvers on the edge of that balcony, you're going to have much better privacy and interface between those two buildings. So we think that that condition should be changed to have, instead of it being stepped back, it should have fixed privacy louver screen to whatever height the panel or the council would like.
Sorry, may I ask, is it through the whole length of it? When you look at diagram DA200? Or are you just around the area where it says PC, because you noted that?
If you go to the diagram before it, DA105, which is the floor plan.
Yep.
And you can see the balcony that's in question, the level 2 balcony. We're just talking about the extent, the western elevation of that balcony. That's all we're talking about.
The screen on that, rather than set it back.
Yeah, okay.
You can put its privacy screen on that western.
Yep. Okay, so you'd like the wording there changed to level B, the western edge of level 2 bedroom balcony for 4, townhouse 4, to have fixed privacy louvers.
Angled live privacy screens. So fixed angled louvers.
Fixed
angled louvers. Yep.
Okay. To a height of?
We'll be guided by the panel on what height they think is suitable there.
Okay, all right then. Thank you very much. Is there anything further?
No, we don't have anything else to add. We're very grateful for the panel's time and obviously the council's time in a recommendation for approval.
Now, I just wanted to, I'll just go back and see whether there's anything that the residents raised that is outstanding. They raised questions about the intensity of the right-of-way and safety of children, and you're saying that all of those works to be undertaken are on the applicant's property in the ownership of the right-of-way of that portion.
Yes.
And the landscaping of the adjoining will remain intact. And we've also spoken about the use of lights to further prevent any difficulties in that regard. Is there any other questions that the panel members may have?
May I ask a question? Yeah. Because it was one of the comments made, I think by Miss Lewis, regarding her camellias on her side, that she suspected that it might be impacted by the construction vehicles that may come on site, because it's a fairly narrow driveway. And I wonder, how can you reassure Miss Lewis and her number 71 residents that that would be the case, as it were?
Are those camellias existing in the current carriageway of the access handle?
I believe so, from the comments made by Miss Lewis. Thank you. Sorry, Miss Lewis is also on screen for us.
Can I just answer that? My understanding is, as I said, we will leave that 1 metre strip. So that gives us 5 metres in width to get construction vehicles up and down the driveway. So we do believe that that's sufficient.
Miss Lewis would like to make a comment. You got to.
She's on mute.
Thank you. I am reassured to hear that the camellias won't be touched. I don't accept that they won't be damaged in the process of construction. It is a narrow driveway. The state of the driveway on 69 side is all rocks and things, so all of the vehicles will be going up those 2 concrete strips. And I mean, even just having Woolies delivery trucks will, damage the trees at the top. So I can't see how excavation machinery won't cause damage. I mean, I'm reassured that the footpath's going on the 69A side. However, I'm certainly far from satisfied that it's going to be safe to have 9 cars going up and down, reversing up and down. And I'm far from convinced that having 5 young children crossing a zebra crossing where there's potentially 7 cars coming in and out of the townhouses will be safe for those children.
Can I just say that we've already addressed the issue of cars will not require reversing because there'll be lights.
Mm.
I think it's during
Yes.
yeah.
Construction and post-construction too. It's the number of cars and the visibility of the children and having to cross the driveway to get to the footpath. I can't see how that's safe.
Chair, may I make a comment and a request? In one of your conditions for the applicant is that you're required to do a construction transport management plan. And I wonder when you prepare that, and we have asked so that it's all aggregated with any diagrams for the pedestrian access is on one diagram so that everybody can understand it, is that it's be provided to your neighbours? Is that a possibility? To 69 and 71A in particular, I think, because it will impact them, because I suspect that there will be requirements for those sign ladies in the front of the property to actually manage the traffic
Not
that
ladies.
goes up and down. Sorry?
Not ladies.
Or gentlemen, sorry, I'm being sexist. Persons, traffic management persons
Irish
to
ladies.
actually manage the construction vehicles as they go up. And it'd be good for you to know what is being proposed. It hasn't been prepared yet at the moment, but I suspect that might be an issue or
I've got another suggestion.
a provision.
Just on the suggestion that's been made, can I suggest the applicant, when you lodge your construction management plan with the traffic officer at council for approval, you notify the immediate residents and that you ask the council to notify those residents when the matter is coming before the council's traffic committee for approval, so that if the residents have any issues with what's in the traffic management plan, they can address that committee.
That's probably something that council might need to comment on as to whether it goes to a full traffic committee or whether it's just something that the council traffic engineer looks at himself. I don't know.
No. According to your conditions, it is required to go to a CTMP, which usually goes to the traffic committee meeting.
Okay.
And what we're asking is that you in fact provide early notification once it's prepared by your traffic engineers to your immediate neighbours so that they can have a look and be reassured, I think, and make comments themselves of where it's going, because it's not going to be a very pleasant time for any of the people living in the area while your construction is being made. And if they understand the process a little bit, they may be a little bit happier.
Sure.
As it were, not totally, because there will always be issues that will come up, and the traffic management person will help a little bit when the trucks come in, because it's not easy.
Okay then, rightio. So there are no other questions for this matter. Nothing further that the applicant wishes to put to the panel, and we've heard your concerns about two of the conditions as such. I think I will draw this matter to a close, and we will have our deliberations later on this afternoon. And I do thank you all for your contributions and your assistance in us considering this matter. And our decision will be on the website by the end of the week. So thank you all very much for participating. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And can I just say that this closes the public portion of this